Welcome back. This is still the press, and we're reaching you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. And now, Nigeria wins as UK court dismisses $11 billion P&ID suit. It says Nigeria has won its bid to overturn $11 billion damages bill involving the controversial process and industrial development deal. And Nigeria claims that the collapsed gas processing project was procured by a campaign of bribery and fraud. The West African country succeeded in halting the enforcement of the $11 billion arbitration award in favor of P&ID. In a judgment on Monday, a UK court upheld Nigeria's prayer on the ground that the ill-fated gas processing contract was obtained by fraud. Process and Industrial Development was awarded a 20-year contract in 2010 to construct and operate a gas processing plant in Nigeria. Upon the failure of the deal, the little-known British Virgin Island-based company took Nigeria to arbitration. Now, to discuss this, we've been joined by our guest, who's the Secretary General, African Public Commentator Forum, Yahuza Getso. You're welcome to the studio.
Good morning. Good morning, viewers.
It's good to have you join us.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
All right, viewers, be reminded our phone lines are now open for you to call in and make your comments known. All right, Mr. Getso, talking about this P&ID deal and the win for Nigeria, what do you make of it? Well,
I think the P&ID wanted to take advantage on the Nigeria situation because Nigeria have been kind of at the topmost corrupt country in terms of operations, in terms of processing the deals of contracting and awarding where contracts will be kind of inflated and alike. So as such, probably in the process, they realized that it was not going to work in accordance with that, since probably the other governments that come after the Yar'Adua government realized that the process was so fraudulent. So to that extent, they felt this is something that they should cancel or they should reconsider a review or whatever. So it is as a result of that, the company felt that they want to take advantage for taking Nigeria to court for arbitration.
Arbitration, yes.
So as a result of that, looking at the procedure, and the judge really deserved to be commended because of being fair to Nigeria and fair to the African nations, despite the fact that we have so many cases of corruption, and corruption is becoming a kind of one of the biggest tag for Nigeria and Nigerians, which really I felt it may be a kind of insultive, and to some extent it may be realistic because of the proven evidences against many of the outgoing ministers and some of even the presidents or some of the appointees served under various governments between Obasanjo, Yar'Adua, IBB, all together. When you put together, there are a number of allegations or assertions, even though one of the major problems was kind of checking or proving corruption on any Nigerian government or any Nigerian institution or individual is the fact that a committee will be set, AT items will be bought for them, and then a hall will be assigned, or hotels or locations, and then members of the committee profile. You will see a very good and nice profile for the committee members, assuming that by tomorrow you will get the results. But I want to tell you, even in the last 30 years, I don't think we were able to prove any corruption charges against anybody, right or wrong, because public have never gotten a feedback. So
well, you know that these things, they come with evidences presented, actually.
Yes, of course. But can you tell me in the last 20 to 30 years, which I'm sure you are matured then and matured then, can you tell me any one proven situation that have been taken before the court and then probably also the same feedback been sent back by either ICPC or EFCC or any of the
So are you saying enough is not being done to bring those who are actually culpable in terms of all this corruption and the likes to book?
Of course. That is one of the reasons why we are promoting the process rather than demoting the process. That is where everybody is testing. In fact, looking at what is happening now in Nigeria, you can say that corruption is not stealing. Corruption is just part of the business. It becomes part of the process in the procurement. It becomes part of the process in the award. It became part of the process in the supply chain mechanism. It has become even part and the process of even getting into the services of the government, whereby we have had allegations, since I never established evidence, whereby people are even paying money to buy for positions, even at as ordinary as the young fresh graduates.
I'm glad you said that those are allegations. Because
yes, they are allegations because I don't have any established evidence, and I am not a judge. I'm not a court that can prove it. But I know there are a lot of them. They are so cumbersome. If you start checking through the Nigerian dailies, either the online or the print and electronic media, you find many of such allegations, and you find many thousands and hundreds of those committees set to investigate those happenings. So likewise, the same P&ID wanted to take advantage to be part of the campaign or to be part of the process, so that they can be able to take away something, whereby the judge was able to be fair to Nigeria in the suit, because the judgment is in favor of Nigeria, not against Nigeria as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, talking about being fair to Nigeria, there's a story here. The federal government has said it will demand damages from the Process and Industrial Development Limited, that's the P&ID, which lost its $11 billion arbitration award against Nigeria on Monday in the United Kingdom. So they're asking for, federal government is asking that damages be paid. And looking at the fact that this transaction as a whole involved some Nigerians and itself, don't you think the government is going too far? At least one would say they should just accept the win and move on.
Not at all. I really commend the President Bola Tinubu administration
13 years.
and for having such a thought, because that is to tell you that they are working hard to safeguard the reputation, to maintain and sustain the reputation of the Nigeria before the international community, because it's good to sue the company for the damage, and at the same time it will be good also to come back to Nigeria and set up a committee of inquiry to investigate and find whosoever found wanting. Then that will be another testimony to the Western world, to the UK and those P&ID, that Nigeria is no longer an environment where somebody can come and connive. Connive, and that is part of an internal sabotage, and government shouldn't take it lightly. Government should take it with all seriousness, so that will serve as a deterrence for other Nigerians, so that other Nigerians will not continue to connive with the foreign companies in such mischievous deals.
Within the Nigeria sector itself, we have a lot of some of these things that are happening every day. But let's quickly take this call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Elder Zion. You're welcome to the press. Well, great, thank you. How are you? Okay.
You see, it is a high time we start to look into the future of Nigeria Federation.
Okay.
And be honest with ourselves. If you are going to be one, let us be one indeed. If you are not going to be one, let everybody go his way. There is nothing that we need. While speaking what he was saying, he forgot that Northerners occupied all the seats and positions of an NPC and its subsequent agencies. The present group general director of an NPC has been there more than 8 years now. It's not a subject. And no Senator has raised objection.
Okay.
An NPC, go there. They have different groups and the companies up to 27. Go to the staff structure. All of them are not enough. And even when they commit to What is about it if we want the progress of this nation? So what I'm offering and advocating is that there is no need fooling ourselves, saying that we are one. Well, in real terms, we are not one. May God bless Nigeria.
God bless you too, Elder Zion.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Elder Zion. Elder Zion just talked about the...
Well, I really appreciate his position and the clarion call made. If I think Nigeria, we will not find it easy when we separate. Because you will find it very difficult if you say an Igbo man who has been in Kano in the last 50, 60 years to migrate back to Aba. A Hausa man that have been in Lagos 50, 40, 30 years, you ask him to come back home in Kano. Where will he start? A Yoruba man who has been in Sokoto in the last donkey years of 20, 30 years, you ask him to go back to Oyo or Oshun or wherever. Where will he going to start? So, and when we say that we want to divide ourselves along religion, the Christian take part and the Muslim take part. In Kano State, many parts of Kano State, there are indigenous Christians. In many parts of Lagos State, there are indigenous Muslims. In many parts of Benue, Taraba, Adamawa, Enugu, and other states, Ebonyi, Bayelsa, you have many Muslims who are indigenous. And you have many Christians who are indigenous from Sokoto and alike. So I think we should stop deceiving ourselves. Whenever I hear somebody talking about separation in Nigeria, I assume that that person is sick and need to go to be consulted by a psychiatric hospital, psychiatrician. And if we say we want to divide ourselves in line with economic distribution, where will you start? The two parts may not likely survive. We should learn from what is happening in Sudan. The Southern Sudan asked for it over the years, and they killed many of their brothers and sisters. A lot of raping, kidnapping, slaughtering, and so on and so forth. It happens in Burundi and Rwanda. Why is the result? The result is always negative. We should learn our lessons from what is going on in Libya. We should learn our lessons from what happened in Iraq and many other parts of the world. We should learn our lessons from what is happening right now in the Middle East between the Palestine and the Hamas, or the Palestinian and the Israel. So when you look at all these things, you realize that yes, of course, the assertions made by Dr. Ahmad Gumi has been cleared by Minister Danson Wuki, that he was going against Islam and Islamic faith. Wuki now, during the advocacy made by the chairman committee of the National Mosque, that is the emir of, I think, Bidda or Zayabai from Niger State. Yeah, Esunife, who is the chairman of the committee. Musa Wike was able to make it very clear. And this is, the reality is, if I am a Hausa, if I commit an offense, it shouldn't be that the Hausa people should be saying, no, let's protect him because he's our Hausa. We are deceiving ourselves.
You know, it's beginning to look like, first of all, when you come into Nigeria and somebody meets you, the first thing they're going to be asking you is, what tribe are you from and what religion do you belong to?
It is our fault. And all hands must be on deck for us to change the orientation. Because let me tell you, in the estate where I live, here in Abuja, the majority are Christians. But I want to tell you, my family enjoy their liberty, peace, and even yes, when I'm away than when I'm around. Because anytime I travel, you know, I travel like air to forest. I'm always in the forest conducting research, investigation, and so on. Anytime I travel, that is the time when the fridge and refrigerators of my house will not have a space to accommodate gifts from my Christian neighbors. So is it not an opportunity? And I know many of my Christian friends, if I go to Zongo and Katawa, I have many friends in Port Harcourt. I do go to Akwa Ibom, Calabar, Enugu, and many other places where I have many Christian friends. What is the time for prayer, morning prayer? At 4:30, they wake me up, wake up and go to the mosque. If there is no nearby mosque, they will say, okay, we have a mat that you can use for prayer. So I think we should stop thinking around the line of dividing ourselves in line of religion. This is just a kind of bigotry. That's how I take it.
Let's quickly take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
You're welcome to the press. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
All right, this is Akim calling from Lagos.
Mr. Akim, good morning. You're welcome.
Thank you. Hello to Mr. Yahuza.
Okay.
Hello. Yeah, first and foremost, I want to just commend, commend Nigeria, and because I wonder if that case we did not win is how Nigeria would look like, even with the current situation that we face ourselves.
Exactly.
Then, yes, and then definitely, no matter how bad we look at the previous administration, we still have to commend them, most especially first the Vice President, Yahuza, for detecting, for being the first person that discovered that and poured it to his vote, Muhammad Buhari, that order for that to commence, and of course to the Attorney General, the former Attorney General that commenced it from the order of the President. And also we have to commend President Tinubu for not leaving it and pursuing it to the end, and commend the Attorney General at the moment to get into the success, because this is a very great success. Anyone that understands what it means. That's $11 billion. Okay, let's leave that one aside. I want to believe that there are so many cases similar to this. This one is just, that is why we are talking about it. And the fact is that people, after achieving this land, they have to pursue to the end who are those that are involved in it. Just like you said there, people, their head has to roll. That's just the fact. So let me not waste much of the time. There's something I want to reference to the last caller.
Okay.
See, look. Yes, you see, the truth of the matter, these our leaders from among us, they are few from among us. And they are the ones making Nigeria to think that probably maybe if we separated, things will be better. And you know why? The reason is this. These people, this corruption that we are talking about, when they are doing the corruption and they are drying up the wealth of the country, they don't know any difference there. You understand? And are you telling me that somebody that is poor from the north, that are all getting something to eat in a day, will now think that one Nigeria is existing? They will tell you that if you give in gum, you do anything, let the Nigerians scatter so that they will get it better. So, though the analyst is right by saying that there's no way Nigeria, yes, it's true. But the fact is that our leaders are the main problem of this country, and it's based on the corruption, then down to our religious leaders. You understand? Some of the comments that they are making, I don't want to know which of the religion. You understand? A division comment. These are things that are bringing problems in this country. Ordinarily, Nigeria is supposed to even live better than United States of America. I'm not exaggerating. If we were to do something in the right way. Even the two religions that were practicing, the Islamic religion and the Christian religion, these are imported religions. You understand? And the places where these religions are imported, you understand? I don't see them even taking it so too serious like we are taking it. I'm a Muslim. I take my religion for good. I do what I'm supposed to do. But the fact is that there are so many that are using it, taking advantage to inflate others and inflicting on Nigerians. So everything starts with our leaders, and we want to see President Tinubu fighting this corruption in a logical way, the way they started it, because they can't just concentrate on corruption. You have to also face the economy. God bless Nigeria. We have no place to go. But the fact is that if our leaders continue like this, people will want us to separate. That's just the truth. Our leaders are not offering it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Akim from Lagos.
I was going to ask a question in regards to that, because you were saying unity is actually non-negotiable, which is actually true.
Yes.
You cannot separate at this time, you understand? But then, don't you think the actions of course, the government itself would actually be the reason or the rationale for people's agitation to want to separate? Because believe me or not, the big men out there, they don't see what this average or poor people go through on a daily basis. So wouldn't you term their agitation as, of course, a reaction to what is existing?
Especially because their political language is always divide and rule.
Yeah.
I appreciate the way you put it, and I commend Brother Akim from Lagos, because it's like you are discussing the same, you are children of the same feather. I can say to some extent. Let me tell you one thing. I always remind myself.
Okay.
I am now, I reached the age of 54, and I have intermingled. I have been to 48 48 countries in the world, and I have intermingled between the diplomacy, the supremacy, the impunity, the real governance, and the masses as the grassroots and the average class. Let me tell you one thing. The reason why they are using that language for divide and rule is for it to pave a way for them to continue to misguide and mismanage our resources.
Okay.
Because any corruption charges that you know in Nigeria, you will find 7 items. Those items are as follow. You will find Muhammad. You will find Ungozi. You will find Aminu. You will find Kelechi. You will find Chiwake. You will find Dambu. You will find Ingala. What I mean by these 7 items, I tried to combine the religion and the culture and the geography in Nigeria. In any corruption charges, in any corrupt allegation or any corrupt activity, either by the police on the roadside, either by the military on the roadside, the corruption have not to be limited to so religion, or neither to so geographical background, or neither to so ethnic or whatever. So why can't we, when I say we, I mean we that follow the larger population in Nigeria, why can't we reason that these are our leaders? Why can't we find a way of sending a message, the right message, as we have done in the 2015? Because in the 2015, when Nigerians wanted to get President Goodluck Jonathan out of government, there wasn't anything Yoruba, neither Igbo, no Muslim, no Christian, no EPP or no EPIC, no Igala, no Tib, no Idoma. We unite together to get the right president based on assumption that he was going to be the best leader to change the scenario. Even though we tested and we failed.
I know.
Because Buhari administration was the worst ever administration we have had in the Nigerian history since independence. Even
though some persons are still begging to defer.
Well, not to send whichever way, as far as I'm concerned, based on all indices, even though I'm not an economist, but I know once you don't have good governance, nothing will work. So I cannot comment on the economy, but I know I can comment on the good governance because I'm not an economist. And I can comment on intelligence, and I can comment on security, which is the bedrock of peace, which is the bedrock of any development. Okay. So as far as I'm concerned, Buhari administration was the worst government Nigerians will never forget.
Okay, let's not go for that part yet.
I like the fact that I said as far as he is
yes. You know, I was going to ask you, because you said the Nigerians should send the right message.
Yes.
Maybe perhaps through the right channel, I don't know.
Yes.
So what's the right message? Because if you're saying like during the 2015, Nigerians came together without any kind of like, oh, I'm Igbo, I'm Yoruba. They came together as one, and yet they brought in someone they felt like would actually ameliorate what was happening at the time, but failed. Don't you think it's a reason to get really tired? Because if you had gone through all those efforts to unite and come together to bring someone to power and yet fail, do you think Nigerians have that enthusiasm again, would also have that strength too?
Well, I think we should take all the Western powers as an example.
Okay.
And all the powers, the Greek powers, the whatever powers that we ever had, the Kanin Borno powers, the Mali Empire, and whatever, and the American Empire, they have been testing. Once you are knocking a door, you know that your food is inside that room. You shouldn't be tired of knocking at that door. So Nigerians should not be frustrated because they brought Buhari under the unite and forgotten their differences, and they work through diversity, unity in diversity, and they were able to change the government. That shouldn't be a reason why they should go back because Buhari frustrated and disappointed and failed us. That should be a kind of systematic strategy for which supposed to have kind of encourage us to come together, because if we allow these elites to continue to take advantage against you and me, while in their language, like I mentioned earlier, there is no Muslim, no Christian, no Northerner, no Southerner, no whatever. If you go to PDP, all the elites at the highest level, are you hearing any difference? Are they talking about that? When Tinubu wanted to make his appointment of all the elite that he appointed, did he look at the religion or ethnicity or geographical background or whatever? They just put together themselves, and they are working together. Either they are working for us or they are working against us. They are winning against us because it's the system of governance is still moving. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm advocating, especially for the younger ones growing, because I'm no longer a youth. I'm 54 already of age, so I'm no longer among the Nigerian youth.
So you don't regard yourself as
I can't. Okay. By definition, by any religion, by definition, I'm not a youth.
Okay.
By definition, by any system of governance, ECOWAS or AU or UN, I'm not a youth.
Okay.
I'm above the age of 50. So I should no longer be regarding myself as among the youth. Only that some of the growing youth like you and alike should be able to tap from some of our mistakes and also tap from some of our successes and put together as an ingredient for building the future. Because the future belongs to you. The future doesn't belong to me and my alike. Talk less of my seniors. It belongs to you. So you have to look inwards and be realistic and optimistic. Put together whatever the ingredients from our failures and from our success. Because like mentioned by Akim and the other caller, we cannot say that all the government have failed in all they have done. Even within the Buhari administration, there are some little nitty-gritty that you can pick and say that these are part of the few successes. Right. But in the highest proportion, the government failed. So the youth should take into consideration what are the successes and what are the failures. So you take the failure as a challenge and you face the challenges. I always ask for young ones or for anybody who is having challenges, face it, not even chase it. No, face it. If you are not ready to face your challenges, the challenges will scare you, will destroy you, and will kill you, and will put you in the back of the history. You will be no more. But if you are chasing the challenges, even though I am getting older, but that doesn't mean that I will stop shouting and I will stop going to the forest, getting information, this and that, and contributing and providing my inputs to make sure that Nigeria's future is greater. That is an opportunity for my children and my grandchildren to come in the future.
All right.
So we should not be discouraged. Nigeria can still continue to be the one unity, one country. We can continue to operate within the unity in diversity, and at the same time we can fix those issues that we have. I believe that we have all the intellects, we have all the ingredients, and we can make it, and Nigeria can be better when we remain as one. But everybody, Nigeria, we are divided.
All right.
I know my religion, I know my state, I know my region, but everybody knows that I am a Nigerian. Likewise, you know all these informations. But Nigeria is one country, but everybody, we must be able to recognize our differences.
All right.
And understand them and move together.
Okay. So
we should never forget our differences.
Absolutely.
Everybody who advocates that let's forget our differences and move together is deceiving you and deceiving me. But let's understand and accept and appreciate our differences. That is why I cited an example with an estate where I live.
Of course.
And I'm seeing the importance and believing that Nigeria can still be one and we can still fix those challenges and issues.
Okay, so let's move on to some security stories now. Now we have the off-cycle elections coming up in Kogi, Bayelsa and Imo State. Now Kogi has been a major bone of contention looking at the antecedent of violence in the state when it comes to election. So because you have intelligence reports now, do you think that this election for this 2023 is not going to go as per the usual in Kogi State? Because now there are headlines saying that INEC is beginning to favor some other candidates over others, which might begin to stir up troubles. So we'd like to get your thoughts on that.
And let's not forget that INEC had, of course, said that, of course, they've actually perhaps brought out fears of the insecurity, and of course, they are going to be meeting with security agencies to discuss the way forward.
Well, I want to clear air and clear every doubt to send a message to every Nigerian that the Nigerian security challenges are inherent and they are being established and fueled and they are being negotiated towards attaining a given interest. There is no criminal or criminality type in Nigeria that I don't know. And as far as I'm concerned, all those things are manageable. If INEC, during the 2023 election, was able to deliver ballot boxes to all nooks and crannies in the northeast, to all nooks and crannies in the south and southeast, to all nooks and crannies in the northwestern part of the country and north central, where kidnapping for ransom and Boko Haram, ISWAP, and Saru and the alike are operating, the IPOP and whatever. Then INEC shouldn't be, even though my Professor Jega had made mention that 2023 election have been kind of compromised. So he was advocating that the president shouldn't be the one to appoint the INEC chairman. I quite believe. I said it to the eyeball of Professor Mahmoud Yakubu during the pre-election procedure of the FCT area councils. When he mentioned that they were ready to conduct the election, I talked to him eyeball to eyeball. That I'm doctoring you, and I outline issues and reasons for that. And I told him that once I am invited for a feedback after election, I will certify that you are not ready for those things, and they will happen. So as far as I'm concerned, INEC may never be ready because they have compromised on so many things.
Even with the fact that they are meeting with security agencies, you don't think that they are trying to put measures in place? Well,
I don't think I'm doubtful, because do you really have the enough security personnel to do so?
But these are just
anytime we want to conduct
the number of foot we have on ground, these are just 3 states. Do you not think that we have enough to, handle things? Well, you're on the field, so I'm
very optimistic that one day you will still invite me on this table, and I will provide a feedback, because I'm going to be part of the election monitors in Kogi State, and I hope I will be posted to the most difficult and hard to reach terrain, where I will see things to my eye and then come back.
Be calling you from there to
definitely. I am going to be one of the independent monitors, and I am going to Kogi.
Okay,
so as far as I'm concerned, INEC should sit to its responsibility. Let them not start giving excuses of security. That is a preparedness for corruption. That is a preparedness for unfairness. That is a preparedness for impunity. And it shouldn't all arise. INEC should be ready. INEC should know that it's an independent, even though as far as government continue to INEC continue to submit its budget to the federal government, INEC continue to depend its budget, INEC continue to ask for money from government, INEC continue to source for all whatever and accept and report to the presidency, there will never be a fair election in Nigeria.
Don't you think that the law should then be reformed or amended?
Of course, the law should be amended for the process, so that INEC shouldn't be appointed by the president.
Okay, so are you
because
saying
as far as I appoint you, as far as I have the powers to remove you, then anytime if a lion coming in the animal kingdom, by the time you do, every animal in the kingdom will sit down and wait for the next step. So that is at a time when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is removing Mr. DG, Mr. ES, Executive Secretary, Mr. Director General, Mr. Managing Director, Mr. Chief Executive, Mr. CEO. Definitely, INEC too, as mentioned by probably Professor Jega, should be asked to explain more why he said that 2023 election was compromised, even though I have some evidences to certify that to some extent from Kano State.
I'd like to do this for a second.
But at the same time,
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Agbi. Good morning, Alhassan. Dr. Getso, good morning. You are on to SND from Lagos.
Please join the conversation, SND. Good morning.
Thank you very much. Dr. Getso, let me quickly respond to the issue of security. So far, you are a security expert. I knew that quite well. The issue of this Kogi state. I don't know whether if Kogi people realize that there is life after election. And then, of course, really, when it comes to political toxicity, Kogi state will not be left out. Look at what happened in 2019. And then, secondly, even before the election, just for a few days back, we heard that SDP office has been bombed. And then they have now turned the election into ethnic something, and I don't know how you're going to put it. Looking at the security angle in Kogi State, you see, my question is, does that mean that we don't learn from the previous issues that go around, even since 2019? People are killing people just because of election. People are dying. I don't know. Does that mean that we don't realize that there is life after election? Does that mean that Kogi State have no any stakeholders like traditional rulers and so on and so forth? So we keep on going for this present predicament that 1,900,000 and something registered voters are coming to vote, but many people have been killed even before the election. So look at the angle of voters apathy. What would be the summary of that result? If really we're going to face these challenges before the election, that means people will not come out to vote. So what will be the summary of that result if people will not participate in the election? Thank you very much, just because of security issue. Thank you very much. I remain SMB from Lagos.
Thank you so much, SND.
I was going to, aside from Kogi State, we also have elections in Imo, and of course, Imo State, where the high level of secession still. And I know that though the parties actually met and signed peace accord. Don't you think?
Which is usual.
Yes.
Sign usual peace accord.
Do you think like there's a role political parties should play, especially in actually reducing this space of insecurity we might just see or not see during the elections?
Well, the reality is, in Nigeria, once you have a class of interests, the clashing with interests of the states, and security agencies are compromising, as well as the election managers are compromising, then you will never expect a peaceful election process to take place. These are the three things. The non-state actors' interest is clashing with the state interests. And also the security agencies are being found compromising, as alleged. Because if not because the security agencies are compromising, we wouldn't have found ourselves where we are.
Of course.
There is nobody who is participating or who is leading in the process of killing Mr. A or B or C in any part of Nigeria, Imo State, either or Kogi, or as said by SMD, in general, anytime when there is election, the Kogi people forget that there is life after election. Nobody who is committing an offense, nobody who is a political fox, nobody who is being a threat to state that is not known by the security personnel or by the community or by the leaders. So I think it is until and unless when I and you and everybody is ready to work harmoniously, then we will be able to have a peaceful process. And it is only when the interest group of those whose interests are always clashing with the state interest, because the state interest should be the priority.
Of course.
The state interest should be what is always on the desk. The state interest should always be the one that everybody should compromise his or her or their interest into, so that we can have a peaceful coexistence. But once we are not ready to deal with anybody because he's a governor, once we are not ready to deal with anybody because he's a senator, once we are not ready to deal with anybody because he's a millionaire, we will never get it right. And we'll continue to kill ourselves, not only in Imo State or in Kogi State. This will happen in Sokoto. This will continue to happen in Kano. This will continue to happen in Maiduguri and Lagos and everywhere.
All right, thank you very much.
Perfect place to end.
It's a very, very good place to end. Thank you so much. But we'll definitely be calling you on elections day to find out how it's going.
No problem.
Since you said you'll be in Kogi State.
Yes, I have made my submission requesting to be one of the independent monitors, and I have specific interest to go in the areas where there is tension, security tension.
So that ensure you're safe though.
I work hard for that.
Stay safe. Yeah, very important. Sure. Stay safe. All right, thank you very much. Secretary General, African Public Commentator Forum, Yahuza Getso. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me. It's been a great pleasure. Thank you.
All right, viewers, that's all. Draw the curtains on today's show. Apologies if we couldn't take your call. Do well to call again tomorrow. I am Olamide Alhassan.
Indeed, until tomorrow, I am Victoria Agbi. Bye.